You guys ready to get started? Okay. So I have a few comments about, obviously, the arraignment that we had today and the events that led up to the arrest. And then I will turn it over to Prosecutor Worthy, who is here this afternoon with us as well, and she can speak to the charging decisions and the case a little bit further. There will be an opportunity for some questions, folks, but I'll just be up front with you. There's very limited answers that I might have at this time. While I understand there's a need for the public to know what's happened here, my primary focus and responsibility is to make sure that we can secure justice for the victims in this case. On March 17th, 2024, at approximately 2 p.m., the Dearborn police officers responded to a residence near Southfield Road and Outer Drive following the report of a possible home invasion and assault. Upon arrivals, officers discovered two elderly female residents who had been severely abused and sexually assaulted by an unknown adult male who may have illegally entered the home. Dearborn Fire and EMS were deployed immediately to provide aid to the victims of the assault, and both were transported to an area hospital. Now, the Dearborn police used evidence and reports from eyewitnesses in the neighborhood to track down the suspected perpetrator at a motel where he was taken into police custody on Sunday afternoon. Now, both elderly victims remain hospitalized at this moment, and both are thankfully in stable condition. While both are expected to recover, both received extensive injuries during this heinous attack, injuries that they continue to receive intensive care for at the hospital. Sadly, this was a very tragic and alarming incident within our community, especially due to the nature of the crime, the victims, and the circumstances involved. These types of crimes are absolutely reprehensible, and we are resolved to dedicate our department's extensive resources and investigative capabilities to bring anyone to justice that attempts such a heinous crime. You know, as I reflect on this incident, I'm just struck with profound sadness and sympathy for these victims, their families, and the neighbors that had to endure this that day. It's just a terrible crime. In my 26 years, this is one of the most heinous things that I've seen and witnessed. And again, I continue to pray for the victims and their families. Now with that, I'll turn it over to Prosecutor Worthy.
Thank you very much. You know, my remarks are going to be quite similar, and I'll just begin by echoing what the Chief just said. Most of you know I've been doing work as an assistant prosecutor, as a judge on the bench for 9 years, and as the elected prosecutor for about 20 now. And again, this is one of the most heinous that I've seen, and egregious and deplorable. It's really difficult to know what even to say about a case like this. I think many of you, since I think you probably attended the arraignment, you probably know a lot that I'm going to say. As the Chief said, the victims are 85 and 79, or 78, living together in Dearborn, as he said, and there was an entering of the home. The level of brutality in this case is really unimaginable. And for someone who's seen what we have seen collectively, that's a lot. That's saying a lot. Our victims were brutally beaten. Our victims were brutally assaulted. Our victims were brutally raped, and our victims were brutally tortured. And one of the victims, who we don't traditionally name, and we won't in this case, victims of sexual assault, so we won't use their name, but one of them was not even mobile. So the Chief has told you about how the police department found out about it, but now I want to talk about the charges. We have charged, as most of you already know, Michael Sean Holcomb, age 52 years old, of Ecorse, Michigan. The offense date, as the Chief said, was the 17th of March of this year. And we have charged in count 1, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree. Personal injury is the aggravating factor, and that's for victim 1. And that was fingers to a genital opening. We have charged count 2, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, personal injury, victim 1 as well, and using an object in the anus. Criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, personal injury, victim 2, again, penis to the genital opening. And then victim 2, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, that's a life offense. These are all life offenses so far. Again, the same count as in count 3. Count 5, criminal sexual conduct, again in the first degree, personal injury, fellatio, victim 2. Count 6, and this is a count that we rarely charge, and again, we've been doing this for a very long time, torture, victim 1. Count 7, torture, victim 2. Count 8, criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, a 15-year felony, victim 2. Count 9 and count 10 are both assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder, which is a 10-year felony. Count 9, victim 1, and count 10, victim 2. I think most of you know that he was arraigned today in the 19th District Court And so that's a sum total of 20 counts against Mr. Holcomb, 4 counts for victim 1, and 6 counts for victim 2. And so we'll take any quick questions at this time.
Chief, can we ask you why this house, that door, what brought him there? We've heard things, but we don't have anything confirmed.
Yeah, you know, Sean, I can't, so the question was, why that home, why that day? I can't necessarily answer those questions, Sean. I don't have the answers. I can tell you that it was random. I can tell you that, you know, when I think about this incident, the real courageous people are those 2 sisters. You know, the way that they responded and the way that they managed that chaos is just remarkable. And they are the real heroes here. And that's, I genuinely feel that way.
This is kind of a warning for other chiefs, it's kind of a warning for other people, Chief, that if this guy was there to say, I'm here to do work, or I noticed something wrong, is that, if that's accurate, or if that's something, a warning to other people?
Yeah, you know, these women, it's hard to answer what you could do differently here, Sean, so I don't have those answers. I can tell you that they couldn't have done anything different or otherwise to avoid this. There was nothing that they could have done differently.
If we could say another reporter's question, can you say if he had possibly, one neighbor thought that he may have been to the house a couple days prior looking for work? Is there anything to that?
Can't go into that.
Okay. Can you say if he forced his way in or they answered the door?
Can you tell us about what happened? I understand this is a habitual offender. What is that, and what happened back in May of 2010?
Well, the ethical rules forbid me from commenting on anyone's prior records, so I won't do that. In a general case, that may be true, but again, I'm not going to comment about whether that was charged in this particular case or not. I can't.
Can you, did you receive any charges or any requests for a warrant in Allen Park?
We have not received anything yet in that alleged case that we've heard about. Not yet. We expect to hear something soon, I hope.
And Chief, my question was more broad about, we want to protect our seniors, and if people do go around to offer work. Someone told me, hey, call the police, they don't mind you calling to check it out.
So Sean, you can always call the police, and I encourage residents, if they think something seems out of place or they have concerns, to contact the police. You know, so I would agree with that, yeah.
And I'm sure you know that we said that a lot in our elder abuse cases where we have certain scams that occur, and I'm not saying that it happened in this case. And we always warn people whenever we talk about these cases, do not open the door to someone you don't know. And again, it may sound simple, it may sound trite, but it's true. Generally, things can be avoided, but again, we're not involved at all in victim blaming because we are not going to speculate or say what happened in this particular case. That'll come out in court, and I'm sure you have the date already for the exam.
Prosecutor, whether we know that you're expecting another warrant to come from Allen Park, knowing that and then knowing what he allegedly did in this case, it just boggles the mind of so many people.
Well, crime boggles the mind, period, but we don't know the linkage. We can only speculate from what we've heard about the order that this happened. We certainly can't say, you know, what order it happened. We don't have anything about the case, so we have not looked at any kind of investigative report or police investigation at all. So there's really not a lot I can say except that we have all heard that there was a separate incident in Allen Park.
Would you describe him as, based on the information that you know, and we know that even though you can't discuss the details of his prior case, predator?
Let me not go there because I don't know the facts of the 13-year-old. We can all make assumptions. But again, I don't even know if it's a case that we're going to be able to charge. I don't know the status of the investigation. I don't know the quality of the investigation. All I know is I've heard pretty much what you've heard. And so we have to just wait to see. And when we can comment, we will.
You said it before, how upset are you at these facts?
Well, I think when I tell you that when I've been around for 30-plus years doing this, 11 years as an assistant prosecutor, the last 7 of those 11 years I did exclusively homicide cases, so I've seen everything. I think I've seen every way a person can be killed, maimed, hurt, raped. I did a lot of work in sexual assault during that period of time. I was on the criminal court bench for Wayne County Circuit Court for 9 years, where I presided over every kind of case imaginable. And I've been the elected prosecutor for almost 20 years. And when I tell you, in those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cases I've seen, heard about, presided over, actually tried myself, advised my staff, this is among the worst set of facts that I've seen.
And I would echo those same sentiments. I mean, it's terrible, it's disgusting. And, you know, I pray that he never breathes the same air that I breathe again. And I don't know if that's appropriate, prosecutor worthy, but those are my feelings.
Let me just, upon those come, let me just say that a defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Thank goodness, Chief, that the one sister was able to get away.
You know, they're truly heroes. They're remarkable for their age, and I can't speak to the details, but I'm profoundly just amazed at the way that they responded, and the way that they looked out for each other, and the way that they fought. Remarkable. So,
You don't expect this guy to, you're not looking at other crimes that he's committed in the last couple of days or so, right?
Again, let's wait until we see some additional information that we're going to get from another jurisdiction, and then see what happens from there. As we talk to people, as you know, in general cases, not this one, but as we talk to people and as we look at police investigations, it often leads us other places. I'm not saying at all that that's the case in this case, but that's why I'm not going to comment, because I simply don't know.